Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm just in a flat world to chat about redstone today. But basically in the wild, I guess you could say this is what redstone would look like, and you find it underground in caves. So if you're in survival mode, kids will have to go in, farm and mine for, I guess you could say, not farm, go and find redstone, which looks like this. And when you, in survival mode, when you destroy it and pick it up, what you actually pick up in your inventory is this little red powder. So you don't actually collect the redstone ore, you just sort of get this powder, which is what we use for the redstone stuff. You can also make, if you have 9 of the powders on a crafting table, and just fill up the little grid here, you can also make a full dense red cube or block of redstone, which looks like this. But they don't, the red blocks like this don't appear naturally in the world, only the ore appear like this appears naturally. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're doing redstone things, it's probably easiest to have it on creative mode or give the kids the materials they need to make it, rather than making them go out and find this stuff, because it's not common, so they'll just waste a lot of time trying to gather the materials to build a redstone circuit. So before we start, I guess there's 3 little things I want to show you. So there's 3 main types of switches you can use in Minecraft which help control things. So the first one is called a lever, and if I just right click it, certain items, when you place the lever on them or right next to them, you can control them with the lever. And we can also do that with the most common one you'll probably see it on is for a door. So I've got it on the block, not on the door itself, but on the block next to it, and I can open and close the door with the lever. This is a, forget the name of it, a redstone lamp, this block is called. So I can turn that on and off with the lever. The 2 other switches that are most commonly used and are good to know are the buttons. So there's the lever, the buttons, so there's different coloured buttons. I'll just use the grey one. And the button just provides a temporary pulse, so it doesn't stay on. That's the difference between the button and the lever. The lever will stay on until you turn it off, whereas the button just turns on for a bit and then automatically turns off by itself. So it just sends a pulse. And the third one is the pressure plate. So again, you can get different colors to match your creation. And if you stand on the pressure plate or place an object or an animal stands on the pressure plate, you can set off the thing next to it. So there are also 2 pressure plates. If I just type in pressure plate, it'll show you. There's this one here for heavy things. So perhaps you have a chicken farm and you don't want the chickens to set off the pressure plate, but maybe you want the cows to set it off. You can use a heavy pressure plate, or if it's the opposite and you want light things to be able to set it off, like chickens, you can have a light pressure plate as well. And these are just the regular pressure plates, just in different colors. The colors don't matter or make a difference. It's just appearance. So that's the 3 types of switches. Now you'll notice I'm not using redstone yet. So placing the switches right next to an object will let you control it. That's great. But let's say I wanted to build a lamp, maybe for the road, next to the road for Santa's Winter Wonderland. I want the lamp up the top here. Now, if I put the switch or the lever up there, I'm not going to be able to press it being down here on the floor. So this is where redstone comes in. So using the redstone powder, I can draw a line on the blocks. Now, I probably didn't pick the best example, because one of the issues with redstone, making redstone circuits, I guess, is the redstone likes to go on a flat surface. It doesn't travel so well up the sides of the side faces of a block. So in order to get it to go up, I kind of need to build a staircase. It's a frustrating aspect about redstone. So I'm going to build a staircase up the top. See, now it'll go on the side And hopefully, oh no, I might need to go up one more. Around. Let's get set up. Now I'll try. Once you kind of get the hang of what Redstone can and can't do, like what surfaces you can and can't put it on, it becomes a lot easier. And the game, if the game's not letting you put it somewhere, just try a different approach. So you can see I've got a trail of red going up all the way up to my glowstone up the top there. Now the key with redstone powder is it needs to touch or be right on the block right next to the thing that you want to power. Now, how do I get it to turn on? I need to use one of those 3 switches. So I'm just going to use the lever and put the lever right next to our redstone trail. Lever, you'll see the redstone powder itself lights up to show where the current or the electricity, I guess you could say, is going, to say, yes, this is on, this is activated, and it's turning on and off my glowstone up the top there. So we're using the same 3 switches, but we're using them at a distance by using the redstone powder. One thing to note about the redstone powder is, I'll see if I can show you, I'll build a very long trail. There is a limit to how far it can go. So I'll build a really long trail and see if I can show you the limit. So you can see it sort of starts to, the signal sort of starts to die out after a while. And the limit is 15 blocks or 15 of these black squares that you can see. So let's have a quick count and see how many I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm right at limit. So these two here, 16 and 17, are not receiving any signal. And just to show you what I mean, I'll put a glowstone here and you'll see that one has not turned on. Oops. Throw my lever. But there is a solution. We can use something called a redstone repeater, and if I put it about here, what it does is it amplifies the signal for another 15 blocks. So it sort of extends the range of the redstone wire. So with using the repeaters, another item you can use is called the redstone torch that also gives off a signal. Using these items, you can make a redstone wire basically go as long as you need it to power my light. So that was using the redstone, it's just the powder, it's just called redstone, and the repeater, which boosts the signal for a further 15 blocks. So if the kids have a really long wire and wondering why it's not working, that's probably why. So a few other things, for example, if you're building a base, different items have different properties. So one of the common things redstone's used for is to turn on and off lights, also to control doors. So you might not want to have to press the lever. Maybe you want to put a pressure plate so that when you step or walk towards the door, it just automatically opens for you. So if I connect this to the door with the redstone, when I step on it, turns it on and opens the door. But you'll notice I've probably put the pressure plates too far away because the door's closing before I get there. Why is this handy? Well, with wooden doors can be broken by zombies in survival mode and opened by anyone, including the NPC villagers. So perhaps if you want a more secure base, we can use an iron door. Now these are locked and you'll need to use a lever or a pressure plate or a button to open these. You can't open them by just going up and right clicking, so they are a bit more secure. Also, zombies can't break them down. So you might find, so redstone's great for automating things like opening doors and turning on and off lights. I tried to set up a trapdoor, but I wasn't very successful. So there is also a door called a trapdoor, which you can place on floors. And you could set them off with pressure plates, levers and buttons as well, and you can automate them with redstone too. So the pressure plates are really good for if you want to make a sneaky trap in the floor, or mostly to stop animals getting in places. You could set up a trapdoor so that when the animal steps on the pressure plate, if they keep moving forward, it opens the trapdoor, oops, and they get stuck in the hole. And you can make, yeah, so you can do trapdoors as well. The other thing I wanted to show you that I didn't quite finish building, but you can kind of see how it's built, is an item called a sticky piston. So this is commonly used in redstone circuits. So a sticky piston is just a piston with some sticky slime, green slime on the end there. And when I place it down, it will be placed with the piston facing whichever way I was facing when I placed it. So you'll note it always faces towards you when you place it. Now on the sticky piston, I can actually place, I'm going to put something colourful. Yeah, let's put some concrete, blue concrete, on top. And hopefully this will work. And I'll put a lever on the side here. So you can see when the piston is activated, the piston moves up or down 1 square. So the regular piston does this as well, but with the sticky piston, you'll notice the difference is that it can have something stuck to the front of it. So with a piston, the blue block would just move forward 1 and not come back with the piston. It would stay where it was pushed. So pistons are good for pushing things out of the way if you want to keep an area clear. And sticky pistons are good for moving things backwards and forwards. What would you use this for? Well, one use that I've seen, which is my favorite, is a secret door to your base, or a secret hidden door. So mine's not hidden, but this is the sort of working mechanisms behind it. You'd have some sticky pistons with the blocks attached to them that blend in with the environment around it, and it needs to be connected to some sort of switch, like whether it's a pressure plate or a lever, and you would normally have it on or like so, and then when you want to come in, just turn them off so they retract. You can walk through your door and then turn it back on again so it hides the entrance to your base. So you'll notice that to actually get the redstone up to the top sticky piston, because it doesn't go up the sides of these blocks here, it only sits on the sort of flat top or underneath of the blocks. I could just go like that. So I actually needed to have this cobblestone block here on the side for it to go up and over to access or turn on that second sticky piston. So if I get rid of this block, the redstone wire is no longer reaching that top one. And even if I put it here, it's not reaching that top block there. So the redstone wire, for it to work, has to be right next to or on a square adjacent to the one that you want to power. Whether that's it needs to be on either one of the 4 sides to power it. So I'll just put that block back, put the redstone on top again. And as you place the redstone, you'll notice it kind of just automatically joins itself to the existing redstone nearby. So if I place the redstone by itself, it just goes in a grid of 4, and then as I start placing, it will just form a line in the direction that I'm placing it. So you don't have to worry about any of that. The redstone will do it itself as you lay it down. So that's doors. That's one of the really common uses for redstone. You can make really complicated things with redstone, but we'll just stick to some basic stuff. Some other things that are useful are these things here. So these are called, this one here is called a dispenser, and this one's a dropper. They do look very similar, but they have slightly different mouths, and you can get them by just typing in dispenser here, or dropper if you're in creative mode, or you can craft them obviously in survival mode. So what the dispenser does is, and the dropper does, is in the name. It's pretty self-explanatory. Oh, let's get out of that. The dispenser will dispense whatever item you've put into it. So if you right click on the dispenser, you can load it up with items. So it has a grid of 9 there that you can load up. I've filled it with snowballs and an egg. And when you press a switch or lever nearby or activate it with redstone, whatever you want to do, it will actually dispense that item. Now, certain items like arrows and snowballs, which I've put in there, and an egg, it will shoot out. So if you want to booby trap your base, you could have some dispensers filled with arrows or snowballs and have them connected to a pressure plate. Actually, we can even do it now. I can put a pressure plate over here, connect it with, hopefully that will, actually I might need to, because it's 2 blocks in this high in the sky. Let's get rid of this lever. I'm going to need to put 1 more block there to get the redstone up. Now if I step on here, no, you don't want to work for me. Should work. Let's try again. Try one more time. No, it doesn't want to work for me. Oh. My lever's working, but not my pressure plate. You can set it up. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but you can set it up so that when you press on the pressure plate, it shoots an arrow or something like that. So certain items like lava, water, arrows, snowballs, it will actually shoot out. Other items which it can't dispense or shoot out, it will just sort of spit it out as an item, which is what the dropper actually does. So the dropper, you'll notice this is very similar to the dispenser. I can fill it with objects, whatever I want to fill it with. The dropper just sorry, that wasn't a very good example. The dropper just drops it out of its mouth. So I filled it with redstone blocks and it just spits them out of its mouth so I can pick them up. So the dropper is really useful for if you have, for example, a Minecraft world that's in survival mode, but you don't want the kids wasting their time going around collecting all the resources and you want to give them the resources. You can use the give command in the server commands like so, but then you have to specify what you're giving, how much of that item you're giving, and who you're giving it to. And you kind of need to be present in the Minecraft world in order to do that command to give the item. So if you don't have time for that, you could set up a dropper filled with the rare item or pickaxes or whatever it might be, or even a treasure chest full of whatever the object is, and the kids can come and activate it and get the item. These items are also used, especially the dispenser, in automatic farms. So you can look up YouTube videos of how to make an automated farm where it automatically waters and fertilizes the crops or collects the crops using droppers and dispensers. There's also an item called a hopper, which collects objects. Oops, collects objects there. So there are lots of processes you can automate, and I'm just scratching the surface. Redstone has been a part of Minecraft since the beginning, so there are a lot of tutorials for how to build cool redstone things online. So if you have an idea or you're not sure how to do the redstone for it, Google it, and chances are there'll be someone who's made a tutorial about it. The other most common use for redstone is minecarts. So there is an item called a minecart, and I'll just get some track. Here we go. Rail and powered rail. So if I lay down some rail, what you can do in Minecraft, if you want to get around a bit quicker than walking or running, is you can use a minecart. So you need to build a track and then a minecart, and you can jump in the minecart and go quite quickly along the railway. It's also good, lots of people have built some really cool Minecraft roller coasters using this rail and minecart. But the problem is it sort of starts to run out of steam after a while, and that's where you can come in with powered rail. Now, powered rail is crafted a combination of regular rail and redstone, and what powered rail does, hopefully I'll be able to show you. get to it. Is it? Oh, I haven't powered it, that's why. Wasn't doing anything because I haven't got a source of power. So I need to put either, I think, a redstone torch. There we go. So redstone torch acts as a source of power, or the red blocks of redstone that I had before also act as a source of power. If I have one of these next to, again, it'll have the 15 block limit. So I'll have to have them constantly along the rail track. Now that it's lit up and powered, you'll see the minecart just goes by itself without me having to push it. So this is great if you want to, you can automate your mines, or minecarts can carry items and animals. So you can use it as a system of transportation around your Minecraft world. Lots of kids build railways between their bases. Oh, look, some llamas appeared. They're a new animal. Let's take my minecart back. What you can also do, there we go, with your minecarts, which is what people usually do, is have perhaps a starting section with, let's just put that there, a lever perhaps here, and there we go. So now I've got the lever controlling whether the mine track is on or off. If I have the lever close enough to the track while I'm inside the minecart, I can turn the lever on or off and shoot off and control the minecart while inside it, or have a friend sorry, I'm just trying to get out of the minecart, or have a friend control it from the outside as well. So you can do lots of things with powered or automated minecarts as well. Like I said, I have barely scratched the surface with the kinds of things you can create with redstone. There are people who have actually made working calculators inside of Minecraft and working computers, like using logic gates inside of Minecraft. You can build basic logic gates with redstone, so or sort of things, so you can have multiple signals going on, and if you receive a signal from here and here, then this happens. So you can get that going on with redstone as well. So if you look up logic gates in redstone, you'll find the templates for how to build those logic gates. The logic gates are perhaps a little complicated for some kids to understand how they work, but because there's so many tutorials about how to build them, as long as they can find a tutorial, usually they can build some really cool things. But at this level, just connecting the lever with the wire to the thing you want to move, most kids can get their heads around that, and they think it's pretty cool to be able to build booby traps and trapdoors and all those sorts of things, and have hidden bases and everything like that. So it's a really good way to extend kids who are already really good at Minecraft and perhaps getting through your activities too quickly. You can get them to do something a bit more complicated with redstone to improve their creation, or you can and just push them and keep challenging them onto the next level. If they're really good at redstone already, challenge them to perhaps think about using some logic gates with their redstone, or even start incorporating the coding companion in with doing some redstone stuff as well. So there's a lot you can do with it. I highly recommend you Google some crazy redstone creations and yeah, see if you can find anything that inspires you. That's it, unless anyone has any questions. Oh, hang on. Ben said the wire needs to the point into the dispenser. Oh, not just pass by. I see. Hang on, let's have a quick look. Yeah, I couldn't get it to point in. I don't know why it wasn't. Maybe if I go around the back. No, it doesn't want to point in. Oh, there. No, that's weird. See, it's pointing in there. Okay, maybe now I'll try that it's pointing in. Yeah, so now it's working. Okay. Anyway, sometimes you just have to fiddle with the redstone wires. They're a little finicky with going up and down vertically. Horizontally, they're fine. But yeah, that's about it. I am not a particularly redstone expert, I guess, but that's about my level of sticky pistons is about my level of redstone. but yeah, it's sort of that low entry, high ceiling situation, and that there's just so much it allows you to do so much if you want to. You don't have to use it for anything. You can get away and be very successful in Minecraft without touching it at all. But it's also kind of thinking about how it works is similar to circuits in real life, but you could always talk about, if you're doing science, talk about the differences between redstone and real life circuits, because the redstone circuits don't really appear like a complete circuit, like a loop in real life. They're just sort of a straight line between the power source and the thing that's happening. So you can compare and contrast between real life and Minecraft. I can't remember what year circuits is in, but it's definitely in year 9 and then again in primary school. So that's something to think about. Or in thinking about power and, resistance in the wires, it only goes 15 blocks and things like that. But yeah, that's all I had. Did anyone have any questions? I will stop the recording.